Ladies and gentlemen, this woman right here, I think this is the person that will break this case wide open. We're back on the Law and Crime Network. I'm not going to react to this entire video. It's like 28 minutes. But I'm just trying to figure out if Christina Khorram, Diddy's right-hand woman, is going to testify. If she testifies, that means she's probably got immunity. I don't know if it's full or what. But this title says, P. Diddy on trial. Could rapper's right-hand woman be his downfall? Very, very, very important, man. Because like I said, the people who are extremely close to him are the ones that can take him down if they decide to flip. So, we ain't gonna waste no more time. Just know that if certain words are said, I'm gonna have to edit it out. Let's jump right into it.
Yes, a lot more to get into. I want to bring in right now former Palm Beach County State Attorney Dave Arenberg, who hosts Legal AF, which is part of the Midas Touch Network. Dave, so good to have you on here. Am I wrong? She's got to be called. She's got to be called as a witness in this case, no?
Absolutely. I mean, when you said that she was referred to as Diddy's right hand, it was Diddy who said that.
Thanks.
So, yeah, she has to. And it is very telling that she has not been charged with any crime. Why do you think? I mean, if she is allegedly the Ghislaine Maxwell to Diddy in this case, why has she not been charged like Ghislaine Maxwell?
Damn, like just hearing that, I know she got to be shook. But again, I feel like she's going to have to. Or, because we still don't know if Diddy's going to get on the stand. I don't know. But if it comes to the point where Diddy feels like he has no way out of this, he's probably going to see how many people he can bring down with him. And I think that's why a lot of people are wanting to get on that stand to get that immunity.
Well, I would think it's because she's already cut a deal with prosecutors.
Oh.
Otherwise, I think it'd be game on, and she would be in the prosecutor's crosshairs. So I do expect that she is cooperating, at least in some way, with the prosecution, and I do think she will appear at trial.
How do you think specifically she would prove racketeering or help prove racketeering or criminal enterprise? What are some of the things you think she'd be called to testify about?
So I'm going to have to trim out that part, but basically he's saying, besides, the racketeering, how would she be able to prove all the other stuff that he's alleged of, the ST, the SA, all that stuff. So like I said, right-hand woman, you call her that? Oh yeah, let's go ahead and talk to her.
When you have to prove racketeering, you've got to prove an ongoing criminal enterprise, not some ad hoc thing that you do with your friends and acquaintances, an enterprise. Well, if you're going to say that Diddy's record company is part of this criminal enterprise, you have to call employees of that company. Who better than Diddy's right hand? She knows, metaphorically speaking, where all the bodies are buried. So when it comes to racketeering, whether there were two predicate crimes, she can provide evidence. She can provide evidence that this is an ongoing criminal operation. And yes, she can provide evidence on the other count to show that Diddy allegedly harbored, transported, in other ways, created this system of force, fraud, and abuse that led these individuals like Cassie to for money. And that's what happened when you talk back and you need force, fraud, or coercion. Well, that's what we're talking about here, and that's the evidence that this witness can provide.
So it came out during testimony that Homeland Security, HSI, they seized a cell phone of Christina Khorram on September 16th, 2024 at the Park Hyatt Hotel. when Combs was ultimately arrested. That's got to be quite telling. A very interesting piece of evidence.
Oh man, you don't want the authorities to have your phone, right? The
Boy.
phone tells all. I mean, so many cases we've seen where there are new charges that come after the authorities get your phone. And so, yes, so you think you would have to assume that the authorities know everything that KK knows. That's what Diddy calls her. And that's why the fact that she has not been charged tells me that she has been cooperating. She could be called as a rebuttal witness by the feds, or she could, as you said, perhaps she'll be called as a defense witness. That is perilous, though, because if she lies on the stand, that could result in a perjury charge. Even if she cut a deal with prosecutors for immunity, that doesn't cover perjury. So it is a minefield if you call her to the stand as part of the defense. I think perhaps the prosecution has her lying in wait in case.
That right there is huge. So he's saying basically they want to keep her off the stand by any means necessary, the defense. Because it'll be bad, because if she's caught lying, and again, you cannot be labeled as Diddy's right-hand woman and be like, I don't know nothing. And they got the phone. And it's already, they were showing and talking about the security guy from the head security during the what happened with Cassie, that she was trying to, talk to him about getting the video. This is the key witness to this whole trial. Besides Cassie.
They need her as a rebuttal witness.
So I'm going to get into a minute all the times, or a lot of the times, that she was mentioned already in testimony, and kind of give us a preview of what she might testify to and how she might be used by the prosecution and the defense. But real quick, as a point of law, the allegations that she's facing in the civil lawsuits, whether she's named as a defendant or not, you think any of that is going to come up in the criminal case against Sean Combs?
Well, it could. I mean, it's fair game if she's called to the stand. The accusations against her can come in. I mean, if she testifies against Diddy, Diddy's people can tear her apart by pointing the finger at her. They can try to make her into the bad guy, into her as the one who is trying to save her own hide by coming up with these lies. She's the one being sued, and she's going to say anything to get out of it. So that's the kind of thing you could see if she does turn on Diddy. On the other hand, the fact that she's been sued by various people and with really salacious allegations, that is something that's going to hang over her head. And that is something that Diddy can use against her if she is called by the prosecution as a rebuttal witness.
I want to talk a little bit about how she was already brought up during the course of this trial. So I mentioned George Kaplan. So he testified that he was a witness use of Cassandra Ventura, victim number one in this case. Prosecutors say that Combs used violence, threats, financial control, intimidation, manipulation to coerce her into committing. And Kaplan said that one time he was on a private plane, heard glass shattering, and he sees Sean Combs holding up a whiskey glass over his head. Cassie's on the floor. Her hands are in front of her face. He also said he observed Combs throw green apples at another girlfriend of his in his Miami home. So this pattern using women, important for racketeering. And this is the back and forth question. What did you tell KK? I gave her a recount of what I had observed the night before. Did you tell her everything you have just told us? Yes. What, if anything, did you tell her about what you had observed on the jet involving Cassie? I had told her each time that I witnessed any sort of violent act. Mm-hmm. Did you tell KK about the incident on the jet? Yes. Do you remember being asked about the conversation you had that next day with Christina Khorram? Yes. Did you tell her about both of these incidents during that conversation? No. Which incident did you tell her about? The green apple incident. And earlier, had you told her about the incident on the jet? Yes. What did you tell her about why you decided to quit working for Mr. Combs during that conversation? I think the words I used were that I was unwilling to stand by the behavior. What behavior were you talking about in the context of that conversation with Christina? The green apples and the airplane incident. Did you tell Christina you were going to quit because of that? Yes. Did Christina say she was going to quit too? No. Did Christina, as far as you know, quit any time after you left? No. As far as you know, how long did Christina stay working for Mr. Combs after you told her about these two incidents that shook you tremendously? I haven't spoken to her in a while, but my understanding was that she was working for him up until pretty recently. Dave, what does that tell you?
Tells you, allegedly, she was in on the whole thing. I mean, she seems to be the one employee that hasn't broken from Diddy, that hasn't been attacked or threatened. And why is that? Because allegedly she has been carrying out Diddy's criminal enterprise. That's what the government, I'm sure, believes. But why hasn't she been charged? Because she knows so much she could sink Diddy. So I think that's why. Or maybe if they haven't cut a deal with her, they're waiting to charge her afterwards, like Ghislaine Maxwell was charged afterwards, but after Jeffrey Epstein. But I think it's more likely that a deal's been cut. I mean, some of these allegations are crazy.
And the jury would know about that? She'll be asked about that, right?
About whether she cut a deal with prosecutors? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's always used by defense lawyers to undermine the credibility of a witness, saying, oh, you're here under immunity agreement, right? You know, you cut a deal with prosecutors, right? You're facing decades in prison, and that's why you're here lying on the stand. That's the kind of stuff. By the way, it doesn't mean she's lying. It just means that she's thinking about herself. That's human nature. Yeah. I just had to say, all these incidents, I mean, how can Diddy survive in the court of public opinion no matter what happens here? I mean, you have the Green Apple incident. Well, I mean, I actually just had to Google the Glasgow smile. I didn't even know what that was.
So that allegation, right, was from one of the civil suits. I mean, look, the court of public opinion, I don't think there's a way for him to recover. The loss, the actual criminal trial, it does become a question. Does it amount to trafficking? Does it amount to racketeering? I could play both sides here. I could do a whole analysis back and forth about whether or not at this point in the trial the prosecution's proven it or not. I think they're convinced he might not be a great guy. He might be, but does it amount to a criminal enterprise? And that's why I think Christina Khorram may be an important witness. By the way, Cassie Ventura also testified about Christina Khorram too. Listen to this exchange. When you mention trusted assistants, who were some of the trusted assistants? I mean, in the very beginning, it was David James. It just kind of changed over time. Christina Khorram, eventually, Neil Dominic, he had a lot of different assistants. At what point in your relationship did you start communicating with Miss Khorram? As soon as she started, I'm not positive the year. Was that in the beginning, the middle, or the end of your relationship with Sean? It was like the middle of the relationship. What did you call Miss Khorram? I called her KK. And how frequently did you interact with KK? Every day. And what subject matters did you communicate with KK about? Everything from scheduling to what kind of mood he was in. I talked to KK about a lot. She knew a lot of my personal things. Aside from conversations you had with your attorney, which I don't want you to ask about, was there any other way you went about trying to contact Sean regarding the book chapters? By the way, I'm taking different pieces of the testimony, but this is, I believe, was about Ventura allegedly offering Combs the rights to her book about her experiences, about her time with him, possibly that he would buy them for $30 million. Well, anyway, Ventura responded, yeah, I reached directly out to Christina, to KK. What did you ask KK? I asked if he had read it and or just knew about it at all. And she said that basically it hadn't been taken seriously. Like, I don't think anybody believed that was actually me. So what do you mean you don't think anyone believed that was you? She said it wasn't taken seriously. Like, they didn't think that I would do something like that. Then, by the way, she testified about an episode where Combs had allegedly tried to get into her apartment. So listen to this exchange. Ms. Ventura, how do you know Sean was trying to get into the apartment? Because I was notified by his assistant. Who told you Sean was trying to get into your apartment? Well, Kerry, because she was there, and Christina Khorram. What, if anything, could you hear while this was happening? Just chaos outside the door, banging, kicking, yelling. So, Dave, according to Ventura, Khorram was essentially in the thick of it all.
Yeah.
And it does make you wonder, exactly, does she corroborate Cassandra Ventura's account, and how much is she going to be grilled about this? Again, I think a central role she might play. Yeah,
the big defense for Diddy and all this is consent. He's trying to make jurors believe that Cassie and the others consented to this activity. If you can prove or at least show some doubt that there was consent here for that alleged human trafficking, then the whole case falls apart. So how do you combat that if you're Cassie? Well, you have corroboration. You have other witnesses who have testified, but also you have contemporary statements that she made to KK. Statements that said, here, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. And that kind of stuff's important because it shows that Cassie was being forced into it or was being coerced into it. And any statement she makes at the time can come in to show her present sense impressions, that she was thinking like this at the time. This was her spontaneous comments, and it shows that she was under duress, that it was not consensual. So KK is valuable for a lot of reasons. And that's why I guess maybe I'm a little surprised she has not been called yet by
let's talk about that.
But that could happen. Yeah.
I think it was strategic because other people have already testified about her too, right? And I think it's strategic on the part of prosecutors to not call her yet. Why do I say that? Deontay Nash, this was Combs and Cassie's stylist, took the stand. Question, who on Mr. Combs' staff did you talk to about the violence?
Okay, all right. Basically, you get all these people to testify and they bring up her name. And then, so if she gets on the stand, you know, it's like you have so many people pretty much with the same story, so many people bringing up her name. It's like she can't run from it, you know, versus having her come on there early and then people, I don't know, if they're feeling like she's just making up stuff, I don't know. But like, it's going to pin her against the wall. Because they're going to say, well, he said this happened. She said that happened. She said that happened. Like, and then they have text messages. Look, she's the one. She's the one. So we'll see what happens. Again, I think this is what, day 16 or something like that? Yeah. Definitely. If they get her on the stand, it is going to be huge. Huge. We got to wait and see. But like I said, they're just going into the testimonies of the people that I've heard already. But again, she was right there. Right there. And it's crazy too, because I feel like a lot of this stuff could have been prevented. You know? Instead of like saying, like, was there any point where it's like, you need to get away from him, run, get away, let me help you get away? It was none of that. None of that. Allegedly. But hey, appreciate y'all coming over and watching, man. I'll leave the link to this full video if you want to check out the whole video. All right, peace out.